Might be a good idea for us to start off with the definitions of all those things. Um,
Yeah,
just because it is kind of a confusing thing.
it is. It is. Yeah, let's do that after like we get hopefully one other participant in our channel. We can probably kick off the group chat, but
Okay,
it's good that we go live a little bit before.
I gotta look at.
Kyle is good.
Yeah, she does. Yeah. Hard not to like poke my eyes out when I'm looking at the camera specifically. You know, like down here I got normal
Yeah.
eyes, but up here it's like fucking got you, bro.
Just imagine you're looking into Kaya's eyes.
I need to put like.
You're looking at me like you want to kill me. Don't kill me. I want to eat you.
I'm gonna. I know what I'm gonna do. Fix this.
I know what I'm gonna do with you. I'm gonna cook you and eat you.
Howdy, Scott. Yeah, looking good, right?
Yep.
Mine still. I like my brown couch.
Brown chicken, brown couch. Sorry.
I like my brown cow. I like my brown cow very much.
I need to jam one of those foam things back there. I don't know. I just jacked it all up. That should I make it worse?
The internet award is lost. We're
Uh-huh.
fucked.
Yeah, I got some foam things. Come on, baby. Oh shit! I know what happened.
John, it looks like you got your ears lowered.
I did. I did get my ears lowered. I wanted to have your style, so I thought I'd go to the barber.
How much does that cost?
Uh,
All right.
yeah, I guess I'm in the surgeon. I went into the surgeon and paid $1,000 to have my ears lowered.
That for whatever reason it just says reconnect over and over again.
Check and see. My friend Mike's gonna join us here in a minute. He just installed Zoom on his phone.
Fantastic. Gotta finish this cigarette. Look at that. I'm just looking at myself the whole time, making eye contact with my portrait the whole time. I can't help it. And every now and again I go over you. I go
Just
back.
minimize the window. Oh yeah, you need the window up.
I need to put a fucking stick-it note over my face.
Yeah, I guess the bigger the screen, the bigger your face is gonna be in the future. So
uh-huh.
my face is very, very small and my little bit.
Okay.
It's just this big.
How's your Saturday going, Scott?
Not too bad. Not feeling my best this morning, but
Oh no.
or this afternoon now, technically.
Coming down with something or just sleep or, foul mood or whatever?
I woke up about 4:30 this morning and could not go back to sleep.
Yep, that's a lot of fun when that happens, ain't it?
Yeah, and it just sort of ruins the rest of your day.
I've gotten pretty good at when I wake up like that, uh, taking a nap at like 8 o'clock a.m.
I've done that before. I didn't today, but I may have. I had a few things to get done around the house, and I may have a date this afternoon. So
All right.
it's like, yeah, a little limited on time. So
Yeah.
Okay, that's exciting. Exciting afternoon.
it's like sixth date. So
Sixth
so
date. Okay.
it's not the first date. So
That's more consecutive dates than I've been on in my whole life. This is a keeper, Scott.
we will see. He's good to hang out with. I enjoy spending time with him. So
Yep,
Cool.
yep.
Oh, cool.
yeah, no major hurries though. I do not need a boyfriend yet. A little too soon.
Yeah. Yeah. I keep going back and forth. I'm like, do I want to get in a relationship or do I just want to be happy as I am? Staring at myself again. It seems to work out a lot better when I'm just by myself. I don't know.
Or you're talking about how you only have yourself until it's fitting. If I want to be happy, just staring at myself in the mirror the rest of my life.
Look at that guy right
there. Okay, if he puts a mirror on the ceiling in his bedroom, we're done.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That would be an issue, I think.
I've listened to y'all's voices talking about sex a lot in the past week as I was editing and working with this video clip from our July 18th conversation. And it's so funny to reapproach and think about how many laughs we had and shared talking about sex health and all things sexual. If you're watching and you're wondering what the hell I'm talking about, you can go to our YouTube channel and check out our recent upload about sex health, where Scott became an unofficial spokesperson for LGBTQ and even spoke for Amber at some point too, who was very outspoken herself in the meeting. It was a pleasure to get online and to get uploaded.
All right.
It was definitely an interesting conversation.
I learned a lot. So you guys ready to go ahead and kick this off?
All right. Yeah, go for it.
Fantastic. Hello, everybody. I'm James. Over here joining us is John and Scott so far. Today's topic is selflessness, self-centeredness, and selflessness. Did I say selflessness twice? I did now. Anyway, so these are three things that recovering addicts commonly have to battle with. Our focus as addicts in recovery is to take care of ourselves, do everything that we need to maintain sobriety. So sometimes you can feel as though you're being selfish, but not necessarily that thing. So we're just going to open up a conversation about that. I'm going to go ahead and read the definitions just so we have the subtle differences between self-centered and selfish. Self-centered is preoccupied with oneself and one's affairs. And here's a quote in usage. He's far too self-centered to care what you do. And now to move to selfish, lacking consideration for others, concerned chiefly with one's own personal profit or pleasure. Used in the sentences, I joined them for selfish reasons. And then selflessness is concerned more with needs and wishes of others than with one's own. I think we all battle with that in our day-to-day to some degree, or at least have concerns if we're being one or the other. Do you want to start off with anything, John?
My first note is that something my psychiatrist told me, reminded me at one point. We begin life from a narcissistic perspective. As a baby, we only know what we feel, our own senses. We don't really have real concept of anything other than that our mother, our father are love, and we don't have a strong concept of other. As we learn our way into adulthood, we typically develop a healthy, sometimes tribal regard and concern for others. So it starts off as a baby, you're narcissistic. It's where you start.
Yeah, and you're definitely not selfless as a baby.
No, you're not. Well, feed me. Give me that boob.
Right.
And some of you men never get past that.
No, I don't. No, it's still guilty.
Boob tube.
Yeah. I just closed my book. Closed my notes right there, right away.
That's okay. We pretend we know what it means to love someone, and then we think we know what it means to love someone, and then maybe eventually later in life we have like a genuine understanding of these concepts of that regard other people, how we relate to other people.
Right.
They develop as time goes on. I remember when I was a kid, I had a girlfriend when I was 5 years old, and I might have said, I love you, but what the fuck does a 5-year-old know about love?
True love.
That's true love right there, kindergarten.
Uh-huh. So I guess the question is how much to give and help someone before it becomes a detriment to yourself. A lot of people that are addicts, we have these moments where we just when we have it, we want to give a lot to a lot of people, the sacrifice to ourselves. So how do we know whenever we're giving too much, when we're being completely the opposite of selfish?
We get to the point where we can't provide for ourselves, and if we're scraping the bottom of our own barrel to feed somebody else, I mean, it's a real good indicator that you're giving a little too much if maybe you're not taking care of your own needs. It's okay if somebody needs, your neighbor needs some cat food and you have a little bit extra, that's okay. But if you're giving her cat food that you have to, go to the store and replace that day or the next day, you're costing yourself.
Right. Yeah, and it could be a cost of your time as well. You're spending so much time trying to care for others that you end up denying yourself of that time that you need to make your own forward progress. It's a wonderful phenomenon in recovery, and I think a lot of people in life in general uh, get to experience this. But if they're taking care of themselves and they're being healthy, they're maintaining all the things that they should do as a person for themselves. That's not selfish. It's allowing you to be so much stronger and affording you the opportunity to be able to care for others and tend to others and take care of a dog, take care of plants, practice all of that nurturing.
So, well, there's a compliment out there. He'd give you the shirt off of his back.
Right.
And let's think about this. If I gave you the shirt off of my back, I'm either going to get a really nasty sunburn or I'm going to freeze to death, depending on the time of the year. There is such a thing as giving too much away.
Yeah. I find for myself, whenever I have a lot of anything, I just want to give monetarily. I want to provide for people. I want to get them gifts, all these kinds of things, and then I just drain my wallet right away, and then I end up counting pennies to get gas to go to wherever I have to go. So I fall into that selflessness more in that way. Not so much with my time though. I don't wouldn't say I spend a lot of time generally helping other people's throughout the days. Like as far as volunteer work goes, or something along that line. What about you guys? Do you find yourself being in periods of being too selfless?
Yes, I do. I do find myself being overly generous sometimes, and it just really can bite me in the butt. There was a sick cat in my neighborhood, and it looked like it was on its last legs. I'm a cat person. I've got 2 of them. So I offered to make the phone call to the veterinarian and got her an appointment and ended up paying for the appointment. And it was some serious money out of my pocket. And I thought to myself, this put me behind on some of my financial goals.
Mm-hmm.
Why did I do it? And I think something about me likes to try to help.
Yeah,
and I'll ask myself if it's to try to counterbalance times of absolute selfishness that I practice, to try and am I trying to counterbalance my selfishness with my generosity to other people?
Yeah, I think that's a line that a lot of people walk. It's like we feel this guilt, and then so we compensate with selflessness, being too extending ourselves too far. The situation with the cat, though, there's definitely going to be these moments in life where you have to do something. In the case of that, you're the kind of person that you see a cat that needs help, you're going to take care of them. And so there's definitely moments where it's not a bad thing to be selfless. Sometimes it can be to your detriment, but also be necessary, and we have to walk that line as well. What about you, Scott? Do you have moments or periods of selflessness, too much selflessness?
I think I was more that way in my 20s, taking in every stray, letting people couch surf, feeding them, that sort of thing. I've gotten a lot better. I can still see some of that. So like my manager at my job was constantly telling me, you need to learn how to say no when people are calling and asking for your help. It's interfering with you're getting your job done because you want to be so helpful to people. I would say that's probably the most of the extent. I don't know whether John has shared with you, but I took in a foster kid several years ago. He's now 20. And it was an awful lot of work. Absolutely. being a parent to a 15-year-old and having no experience doing it. And I just sort of jumped in and did it. And it was definitely detrimental to my marriage because I was giving too much on that end and not enough on the other.
Right. Yeah. So, that's a wonderful thing, fostering a child. I'm sure that there's been a lot of good that's come from that as well. A lot of love and caring, nurturing that you've been practicing through the years since you've done that. Another difficult situation where it's like you kind of feel like you have to do something, and then you end up having to pay the consequences. I've fallen victim many times. Made myself a victim by letting people live in my place, live on my couch. Always those things where it's like, stay here for a few days. I'll cook and clean or whatever, and then several days goes by. I just end up blowing money, providing food for them. They clear out my pantry, and then I just end up with them being gone and me not having anything, any groceries anymore, whatnot. I forgot about that. I need to, and I have learned, I think, to say no in some of those situations now. Definitely a stark difference between having to take care of just a random person, where you could be too selfless in that nature, but fostering a child or taking care of a sick cat, I see those as both pretty good things. But like you said, it did cause a lot of detriment to your marriage. So every situation kind of walks both sides of good and bad with all these things. Unfortunately for couch surfing people, it's usually bad. So I wouldn't recommend that right off. And I'd like to note that it's okay to deter somebody from being too selfless to you. A lot of times people are very giving and selfless in that way. And like, here, take this thing. All right, this is all that kind of stuff, and it's difficult to say no. You feel like it's rude to say no, but you should also potentially say no because you care about their well-being. Morning, Desiree. Thank you for joining. Or afternoon, I suppose it would be. I don't think she can hear us yet.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you for joining us, Desiree.
Hey.
Hello. How are you guys doing?
Very good.
Good.
So the topic is selfishness, self-centeredness, and selflessness. Desiree, just to catch you up. I don't know. Is there a title or something that we could put up for people to see whenever we do that? Maybe that thumbnail that you do, we could change that in the future.
On the actual Zoom call.
When you swap your face to the help with addiction, yeah, maybe we could make a section of that would include the title in the future. That'd be pretty awesome. And then you could just every once in a while go back to that, because I still want to see your beautiful face, John. All right.
Too bad.
So
$5.
One of the things that you guys both did in your selflessness was nurturing something. Nurturing anything is practicing loving and caring for something on a daily basis. A child being the peak of that, and a plant being the smallest part of that. But it's an important practice that we all should have as part of our life, and it's difficult to maybe not do that too much. But it's something that is inherently good for you. Will have its benefits in the long run. Make you a better person, make you a nicer person, make you more compassionate, more empathetic.
Less depressed.
Desiree, have you had any periods of your life where you were too selfless, too giving, and it maybe caused a detriment to you?
Yes.
Yeah. Too personal or whatever, you don't have to mention it.
Well, no, I'm kind of laughing because John is familiar with this. My first husband, when he was alive, had particular expectations of me as a wife, which were to always have the house clean, always be dressed properly, to have the children in nice clothes, to make it to where should he have someone come over after work, that everybody looks like we'd stepped out of a Donna Reed episode.
Stepford wife.
Yeah, Stepford wife. Yes, thank you, John.
That's pretty demanding of you, right?
But it was something that I did every day for 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
And just got to be routine, because that was what I thought marriage was. That's what I thought was expected of me. And as such, things that would be important to me, like Mother's Day, would go by unrecognized.
Oh, yeah. You can't expect.
So being a mother of 3 that are his kids, it's like, well, that's hurtful.
Yeah, you can't expect somebody to follow all these traditional cliche values that he was imposing on you, and then him not do the parts that are supposed to go along with that. Mother's Day being one of those, being the ultimate provider, etc. Yeah, I could imagine that would have been difficult to do on a daily basis, knowing how much of yourself that you're having to give.
My children jokingly, well, I guess kind of jokingly, but have told me repeatedly that I don't know how to put myself first. I don't know how to ask for anything, which my birthday was just on the 25th. So I don't know when you guys are going to air this or whatnot.
Happy birthday.
Going up right now.
Thanks, John. John actually sent me a text message on my birthday.
Oh, nice.
But it was something that I'm going to get emotional.
It's okay. You can. It's allowed.
I don't look forward to it because I don't like having a day dedicated to me.
Does that make you feel selfish?
Yeah,
No.
very much.
Right.
Whereas I'm getting ready for my youngest birthday. She's going to be turning 16. By the way, John, that's happening on the 3rd. But we're throwing a party for her at an indoor water park here. And
did you know that's also my sister's birthday, August 3rd?
I didn't know that.
That's my sister's birthday as well. That's neat. Funny. Leo's birthday. Cool.
But I'm so excited to be doing this for her and getting her the presents that she wants, the balloons that she wants, the cake that she wants, like making sure that everything is just perfect for her. And I love doing that for her. I love doing that for each of my kids, and my husband. His birthday is coming up on the 21st. And so it's such a juxtapose of, I despise my own, but I love everybody else's.
Yeah, that's
I haven't enjoyed a birthday since I was 29. I'm still 29, right?
Yeah.
I've turned 29 almost 20 times.
See, I've turned 24 times, 20 times. Yeah.
Well, so obviously, having days to yourself, especially your birthday, shouldn't really make you feel selfish. There's a certain point where we have to take care of ourselves. We have to give ourselves that love. Make sure that there's opportunities for that. That's it. Yes, go ahead, Scott.
James, selfishness is almost a survival thing sometimes. You have to occasionally be selfish for physical survival. Like you were mentioning with, getting eaten out of house and home by a couch surfer, but mental health as well. Sometimes you need to take time for yourself and concentrate on yourself. And it's not being selfish, although some of us feel guilty when we take that time.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a line that I walk a lot, in AA as a recovering addict, alcoholic or whatever. I spend so much of my time focused on myself, on doing things that are good for myself, taking care of myself, all of that. And I wonder, at what point does it become selfish, or is it just a good thing that I'm doing for myself? Is it making me stronger for other people?
I can tell you guys that during the time around my birthday, part of the reason that you guys haven't heard from me has been that I relapsed, and not proud of that, but my husband addressed the issue with me, and he's so very good at doing this because he said, hey, I found this bottle of alcohol, and I know that you were trying to hide it. So what's wrong? What's going on? What's hurting? More questions of what's going on with me. And just said, I don't like my birthday. It upsets me a lot. And he goes, okay, but this is it. And let's pick ourselves back up. And I've been sober since.
Good for you.
So it is so much easier when you have someone who understands and cares unconditionally and is willing to say, I understand that you may have screwed up, but I'm still here and I'm still willing to be here for you and still be your cheerleader and still understand that, you're going to fall and that's okay.
Yeah, I'm glad you're back on your path to recovery. Make sure that you are loving yourself, taking care of yourself, appreciating yourself, knowing that you have worth. People care for you. Feel you should definitely want to make yourself feel as good and happy as you can. I mean, we definitely know that alcohol is not the way to that. Feels like it for a little bit, but yeah, don't ever feel like you're being selfish whenever you're just treating yourself as you should be.
I've seen my psychiatrist a few days ago, and she was talking about it being the CPTSD. That's really freaking hard to say.
Yeah, tongue twister.
Yeah, but basically the long-term PTSD, which is quite a bit different than what regularly gets associated with military PTSD, which is a period in time, and long-term PTSD being something more like from your childhood growing up all the way through relationships and whatnot to the point that you're at. And was talking about how it's extremely hard to put yourself as a priority. It's very hard to put yourself as being worthy of your own love and your own attention. But for me, my project for the week is to block out 2 hours of time in my calendar for myself. And it can be anything from just going and taking a walk to going and getting my nails done, which I need to do really bad. But just 2 hours of going, nope, this is scheduled me time, and have it be scheduled like it is an appointment. So it's not something to blow off.
Absolutely.
Good.
Yeah, you could almost put something on your mirror if you see that everything in the morning, like you are the priority, you are number one in your life. If you're maintaining that, you're going to find that you have so much more to give to everyone else. And definitely don't feel bad about that. Give yourself 2 hours a day, at least.
Yeah.
I know you
Well,
might be very busy. Sorry, Scott, go ahead.
A lot of the major tech companies actually mandate that their employees block out a certain period of time to work on their own stuff and explore new things, just as a part of worker mental health. And blocking out your own personal time when you're at home, it's not much different. You've got to recharge and re-energize, and paying attention to yourself is a good way to do that.
Definitely. So, John, do you have any periods where selfishness, you feel like that would be an issue for you?
Selfishness, absolutely. During periods of use, when I get on those 1 week benders, on the third or fourth day, I'm just in a hole of selfishness. All I want is to serve myself and to feel that euphoria and to keep the party going. And at that point, I'm giving the middle finger to my friends and family. Not literally, but metaphorically. I'm telling them all, what I'm feeling is much more important than what you feel about me. And it's not right. If I'm permitting these people to love me, it's not correct for me to say, you can't voice your opinion. You can't have an opinion here when I'm doing something that's very detrimentally harmful to myself. So that's the most selfishness I think I've been lately, is down that rabbit hole, down that black hole.
Yeah, I think similarly, whenever I'm in the throes of my addiction, that's whenever I'm absolutely the most selfish. I'm spending all my money on beer and marijuana. From whenever I wake to whenever I sleep, the priority is that I have both of those as an option for me to do right then at that moment. And that takes precedence over everything across the board. So yeah, I've fallen into the selfishness in addiction, right? In use, for sure.
To back up something that Scott mentioned, there's some merit in being selfish sometimes and considering your own personal needs, your own what you desire to happen. Mm-hmm. And I feel like there's merit to keeping that in your headspace pretty much all the time. Even though I don't do it, I think there's merit in trying to keep like what's important for me as an individual, and not so much what are the people over at my house feel and what do they want to experience. Instead of worrying about what the guest is on the mind of the guest at your home, maybe it's more important to consider what's on your mind, what's important to you in that moment. What do you want to happen?
Yeah. That's
with some. For remember, being a mother is something I'll never experience, except for I'm a mother to my 2 cats. I tell my cats, I'm your mom. Listen to me.
And how does that work out?
They don't. They don't. They're like.
Now, John, let's talk about this. Cats are ultimately the most selfish animals on the face of the planet.
They will eat you after you die.
Yes, indeed, they are.
And I say that as a cat dad. I know I have a little tyrant in my house that I will bow to his every whim. So I guess I'm being selfless, and he's being selfish.
Yeah, I'm a cat mom and I'm a cat grandmom. So I have that going for me as well.
I keep threatening my mother. I'm like going, I'm going to send your grand cat down to you for 2 weeks so that I get a vacation.
To follow up on that, as a mother, I can't imagine having your 3 children in front of you and you try to be selfish. Like you're trying to be selfish when you got your 3 kids saying, "Mom, I'm hungry," and you're supposed to keep your own self into consideration. So what I'm asking. I'm suggesting is just that much more difficult for a woman with her children in front of her, especially if they're young.
Well, so to take on another aspect of this is also looking out for those in our community and people that, everybody reaches out to different people. I'm doing this like as in yourself and then everybody who you come into contact with.
Gotcha.
So my son had a friend whose her living situation hasn't been the best, and I've known that. I've been keeping an eye on things, but it just so happened to be last week that she made mention that they had no food. They had used up the last of their milk the day before and they had no money. And because I know of the situation surrounding that, John knows that I'm a food hoarder.
Food hoarder? Yeah, you always had snacks or pretty much anything. I remember that when I stayed with you at your house back in Texas, there was always a snack to be had, and the kids never needed to ask for. Well, they did need to ask, but never needed to search for anything too far.
No, and I'm still that way. And so when I found out that they didn't have any food, I just immediately went over to my pantry, which is just as stuffed as what it was in Texas, and went and started picking out, basic things that weren't open that they could use. So like peanut butter and jelly that wasn't opened. And my kids wanted to give them ramen because they're 2 teenagers. So They love ramen. I'm like,
gotta have the ramen.
Okay, that's fine, whatever. We can give him a box of ramen because I get like the giant packs. Oh God, with the way that my kids go through them. Oh. But then I went and I grabbed meat out of my deep freeze to make sure that they had chicken and pork and some ham and something else. I gave them a roast beef, which you can do several different things with. And I was talking to their mom about that. I was like, you can use it as a one chunk piece of beef, or you can like cut it up into steaks, or you can do this, or you can do that. Like I've been that poor, but I've had to like figure out
making barbecue sandwiches. Yeah.
And then having come from a background where we got our food from food banks, you don't get sweets in there. And that's really hard when that's your only source of nutrition for a long time. So I went and I made sure to grab some candies. I had these different types of candies around the house. So like anyway, different things, but one of the things that I thought was the funniest and his friend absolutely adored is I had some Pride Cadbury eggs from Easter.
I remember those.
So, yeah. And I still had a bag of those around, and I was like, there, candy. So you have chocolate too.
That was very giving of you.
Well,
very
and then
generous.
all of so myself, my son, and my youngest, we all went over to where they're living at and took them the different foods. And the things that they were excited about having were not the things that I thought that they would be excited about having. Like they were happy about having, like I had stopped and got them milk, cheese, bread, butter, refrigerated things that I didn't have extras of. And they were happy to have the milk. They were happy to have canned tuna. They were happy to have some canned peaches. Just a lot of things that I wasn't anticipating. And so also in being selfless towards other people and recognizing that they have needs as well. And when we stick to being selfish, if we contain ourselves into the selfish ball of addiction, we don't have the ability to go and help other people. We don't have the funding. We don't have the mental capability of being able to go and take ourselves to wherever, drive across town, make a walk, we're not going to be in the right mental state. So that is how I see it, is that if I'm being selfish and I am drinking and focusing on me, that family would still be going without food.
Oh, yeah.
Bruce.
Yeah, so you had mentioned whenever you reel everything back into a point of ultimate selfishness, at that point, it's a definition of being self-centered. You're thinking entirely about yourself and not thinking about anyone else. And then you said whenever you were giving to that family, you can see how you're having consideration for others in mind there. So better to be on that side of it for sure, in many ways.
I would say that no matter what, taking anything to extremes is always unhealthy, whether it's your selfishness or your selflessness.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, a lot of acts, it seems like we're polar in that way, where we'll go completely selfish and then we'll go completely selfless. giving. It's like a back and forth. It's part of something that seems to be inherently ingrained in addiction or substance use problems. How can somebody feel comfortable knowing that they're not being too selfish or too self-centered? How can they be comfortable knowing that they're not thinking entirely about themselves? I mean, what's a good way to keep yourself from stressing out over that?
I have a secret trick, but it's one that you guys probably don't share. It's that I have kids in my house, and they're really good about keeping me in check. They're 17 and almost 16 years old. I am happy to rent them out for advice and to be able to give you guys a what's up on
Oh, hey, let's learn
in...
how to monetize our offspring.
Hey, you do what you got to do. No, I adore my kids because they give very honest feedback about things, and they're just as brutally honest as I am. To me, I come across as I am brutally honest. I just tell people like how it is. And there are a lot of times where it's like, oh, I wish I had filters, because I can see what happens when I don't filter myself. But with my kids, they'll just be like, do you really need to eat that extra piece of cake? Are you sure about that? I'm like, no. Okay, why don't you go put that back, Mom? I'm like, dang it. I got told off by my kids again. I have to go and sit in timeout.
Yeah. So sort of what I can kind of pick up from that is that you've built a life that has these parts of these routines, these moments that do well to regulate this spectrum of giving and taking.
I do. I have a lot of good friends. I have a lot of my family is very honest with me. My close family is, and they'll be the first people to keep me in check. My husband is also extremely good about doing that. And I'm sorry if you're wondering what I'm doing. I'm putting my makeup on right now.
I was confused. I was like, what is that?
I would have never guessed.
Right?
Mystery. Yeah, so some things in my day that help me maintain that balance. One of them is working on this project. Throughout the week, working on little notes, spending time, trying to care about others, but also this is helping me care about myself. The AA meetings. That's another thing that helps regulate my day, and within that you meet a lot of people that you naturally tend to care for and lend your help for. Such in my case, some mechanic services and whatnot. So it's almost like if you try to cultivate good things in your life, it will automatically help you maintain that balance. What do you guys think?
Well, I have to say that I'm proud of both of you guys for starting this up. I think it's both beneficial for you and for any audience who gets to review these.
Thank you, Scott, and you've been invaluable to us. You've helped us feel like we're not just two dudes sitting on a couch.
Well, technically, you are two dudes just sitting on a couch. What?
Yeah, we got some other.
But you got a new couch cover.
Fancy. Thank you, John. You were too selfless. Oh, you're muted, brother.
That was that white couch cover was shipped from China, and it only took 3 weeks. And that was a gift to James.
Yeah.
Contribution to our stream also.
I'm appreciating it.
That dog looks so good. I like the contrast of that white couch. I'm glad we did that.
Yeah.
And I get to enjoy the couch cover too when I'm there. Not that it was too bad underneath, but anyway.
Yeah. So I've found some other activities that I do during the day. They're pretty obvious, but they lend to that balance. Having a breakfast, lunch, and dinner, if that's your meal plan. Some people fast and do whatever. But these are moments in the day where I'm caring for myself. They're checkpoints where I'm taking care of myself. And the ultimate result of that is having energy, not being a grouchy person, having the nutrients to feel like a good, healthy human. So it's like I take care of myself, but automatically the recourse of that, or the reaction to that is I'm able to take care of others better. It's a natural balance. Same thing with sleep, having that be routine. But you guys think of anything else that you do to kind of help maintain your daily balance within the subject, or with this subject? Sorry.
I do my makeup every day.
Yeah, little self-care, little self-love, right?
Okay, but that's part of that's selfish because you want to make yourself look pretty, and part of that is selfless because other people want to see you being pretty.
Yeah, and the other aspect of it is,
well, actually, I have a different look on it. It's that I've actually never done this for anybody else. I've had several boyfriends who've told me that they prefer me without any makeup on, and that's wonderful. I love that. I've had other boyfriends who are like, "Oh God, go put your makeup on."
not nice.
Those relationships did not last very long.
Oh.
So, but the reason that I put the makeup on is for myself, because it helps my confidence. It helps me to feel better about me. It helps me to feel more confident when I'm out in the world. And this should tell you how much I trust you guys already, which again, thank you guys for setting all of this up, because outside of John, no one has seen me with this little of makeup on, because it usually doesn't happen. And I was like even debating. I was like, I'm not quite done. I don't. And then I was like, oh, screw it. I'll just get on anyway.
I think it was you've been a wonderful addition, including the makeup transformation as part of it.
Just wait till I'm done.
You touched.
I don't do drag queen, but I get up there.
You touched on something. Sorry, go ahead, Skylar.
I had a work event once where my employees wanted me to dress in drag.
Mm-hmm.
That would be so much fun.
Awkward.
All of the girls that worked for me dressed up as football players, and they wanted me to be the homecoming queen. And I let it's the only time in my life I've ever done drag, and I let one of my friends put me together. It took like 3 hours, and I don't know how you ladies do this. I am so glad I'm a guy and don't have to mess with that.
So you touched on something, Desiree, is very important. It's about you're doing it so that you feel confidence and more comfortable with yourself in general. That's very important, and it carries into say outfits that people wear. If if I'm dressed up nicer, it might seem like that's a thing that I'm doing just for myself, or whatever, but I feel like a more confident, nicer, better person whenever I put on a good presentation. Somehow that confidence lends to you being better for the world.
So James, I can corroborate that. For the longest time in my career, I was customer facing. So I always wore a full suit, even when it wasn't completely required, because it made me feel more confident. And since I've moved into a back office position where things are a lot more casual, because you don't see customers, I still wear a full suit. If I don't have a button down and a tie and a jacket on, then I don't feel comfortable.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Scott. I do the same thing. And I get, being in the Midwest, it's very noticeable for people who work at an inside job where they're not customer facing, because typically the standard is t-shirt and jeans is the staple that you go to, or some workplaces it's casual enough to where they can wear
khakis
like
and a polo,
sweatpants, or no, it's kind of don't mind jeans and a polo. I think that on Fridays that's okay. But I have always been known as the one who wears the dresses or the skirts and the heels. And a lot of times I've had people, executives, who have come into the environment and they presume that I hold a much higher role than what I do because I'm dressed much nicer than everybody else. And it's not because I'm trying to shame anyone. It's because to me, I want to dress like I am going to work, not like I'm dressing to go mow my lawn.
Well, my organization does a thing where it's a dress down for charity sort of thing. So you chip in like $5 and you get to, as long as it's nice looking, dress down. And I have finally gotten comfortable enough with wearing a pair of jeans, but I still have a button down, I still have a tie, and I'm still wearing a suit jacket and a pair of dress shoes.
Yeah.
Because I just can't quite get casual. It's
I like
it's
it.
it's a mind frame thing.
Nice, though. I could see you wearing that.
Yeah,
I could see you wearing drag.
Okay, we'll talk about that not on the podcast, and I'll tell you about how dressed up I was. But I was living in Texas at that point in time, and let's just say the wig. You know how Texas women are with their hair. The higher the higher the hair, the closer to God. Full tiara and a sash. Yep, it's swore I would never. The only reason I did it is because my employees really wanted me to.
That's the part that gets me the most, that they saw it in their head and they really wanted you to do it. And they wanted to I don't know, they thought you
and a pair of 5-inch heels that I was in for like 5 hours. Oops. Which, Desiree, I don't know how you girls do heels. That was painful.
I was about to say, how'd you feel?
Needed a foot massage afterwards.
A bucket of ice.
Heels, that's something that not a lot of women can do nowadays. Partly it's just the shift in the culture, but I wear really, really tall heels, and people will look at me and they'll be like, oh my gosh, how do you do that? Well, I took ballet for many years, so my feet are accustomed to doing that. I had this little girl, she's so cute. She was in line with her dad and she was like, Daddy, I want heels like hers. And she goes, I can stand on my toes. And I said, you know what? When you get really talented, you can do this. And I went all the way up on my tiptoes. And she just went, oh. Cracked me up. But she was like, "You can do that?" And I said, "You're in dance class?" And she goes, "Yeah, my favorite is ballet." And I said, "Well, keep up with it and you can do it."
Oh,
So I guess going back to the staying on that theme,
Sorry.
but going back to, I guess where being selfish can be detrimental for your health. One of my former bosses, she's only 5'2". And for years, she wore 7-inch stilettos to make herself
Whoa.
look taller in the workplace. And she has foot problems now.
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
And it was a lack of self-confidence on her part, and so she made that decision, and it caused her an injury over time.
Yeah. Unfortunate.
Yep, there's definitely that. I will say that my feet have not suffered any injuries as of yet, but I'm knocking on wood right now while I say that. But it's definitely something that I know can turn into a problem. The other thing in putting on makeup every day to help in my confidence is that the foundation that you use has, if you buy the right kind, has sunscreen put into it. So you're automatically preserving your skin while you're going out into the sun, which, gentlemen, if you're not putting on sunscreen every day, you need to be doing so.
I'm going for the rugged look.
So you're going to take Leatherneck to its literal conclusion.
Absolutely.
See,
you're talking
and
about,
I live here in Washington. Sun's not a problem.
And doing something detrimental to your health is a form of selflessness. It just occurred to me that like military service in general is a very selfless act. I mean, you do reap a lot of rewards from it, hopefully, but most people when they go through that process, it's a sacrifice of their body for the country. I know I went from being a young man to a grandpa over the course of a few years as far as how I felt physically. But I wouldn't change it. I mean, that's something that I had to do at the time, and there was some payback for it. Well, a lot of people are like that with their jobs, where they just get too gung ho with whatever the activity is, and they want to be the best at it, and they just push themselves too far for a company, being selfless for a company. And it happens in every job. I mean,
guilty as charged.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I keep forgetting that you're a workaholic, right? Yeah. I mean, I had a data entry job for a few years. My clicker is still not right. My mouse clicker and typer thing. And I was like, it doesn't take very long for being selfless to be something that hurts you for the rest of your life. So it's also very important that we be careful in that regard, to walk this fine line, maintain it. I'd like to reemphasize though that being about addiction, we all oscillate between all of these stances, and just to remember that taking care of yourself, putting yourself first, is not always a selfish thing. If you're in recovery and you're putting good things into your life, it is going to extend itself outwardly to the world. So don't worry about being too selfish whenever you're your number one priority, because that's where you should be. On that note, does anyone have any last things they'd like to say before we close down the meeting?
Just want to read this quick note.
I think that you guys are all wonderful, and that You are beautiful people and beautiful souls, and I appreciate you guys very much.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you guys all coming together, including you, Scott, and being a part of all of this. I think that this is a wonderful thing. And for anybody who watches afterwards, if you guys want to join us, that would be awesome. The more people, the better.
Yeah, that was a good note to put there. Thank you, Desiree. And thank you so much for joining us as well. Sorry, go ahead, Scott.
And I just wanted to say, thank you guys for another enjoyable session.
Yeah,
these are always good.
I appreciate you all. John, you said you wanted to read something before we go?
Yeah, just don't put yourself in a poor position to help somebody you find in need. That was one of my last notes on selflessness rather. It can feel really good to be somebody's hero and pay their phone bill or to keep their lights on, but don't do it if you're always trying to save up to go to college, or you're out there working 3 jobs. Don't work that 3rd job just so you can support that person that's just kind of the leech in your life. But yeah, that was a really good chat. Thanks for that, guys. I consider you guys the foundation of this club that I hope gets bigger one day.
Absolutely.
And these conversations, which we're putting up on our YouTube video log, we'll be able to go back, a couple years later and see how things have changed. So I really appreciate y'all being here, being such good participants in the conversation. It's really just, I like that it's a casual group chat that we have some notes on but we're keeping it just a real casual chat. So if you're listening in on live or you're watching on video on demand, we'll have another meeting Saturday at 2 Central Time. And the meeting ID and the passcode you can find in the video description of this video or in the notes. We're glad to have you if you want to come in and chat with us. We're also glad if you just want to listen in and watch from afar. It's up to you how much you want to get into it. So thanks, guys. Thanks, James, for leading this meeting. And we really hope to see you guys back next week.
Thank you, James.
Thank you all.
Thank you both.
Bye-bye.
All 3 of you.